everyone. Welcome back to the Polished Lens podcast. And this is the 100th episode. I mean, it's been a long journey, it's been a long way, and we're so glad to be here on this lab. So today, we have our visionary on the hot seat, or the live seat. We have Coach FolaFayo here, and we are going to be hearing what she has for us to tell us about the journey so far, and how she has hit the 100th mark. So let's meet you, man, Coach FolaFayo. Welcome to today's episode. Can we meet you?
Okay, I think a lot of people will probably know me already. His name is Bukola Ogunfayo, Olubukola Folashade Ogunfayo, right? And FolaFayo is from my middle name and my surname. I would say that was basically inspired by an uncle some years back when I was just going to step into photography and I was trying to get a name to use. And then he encouraged that it's better I don't put the photography in my name in case I needed to do something else as time, went by and all of that. So I stuck with FolaFayo, and I've been using just that, not FolaFayo photos or FolaFayo photography, which I was thinking of using at the beginning. I have a background in architecture, and sometimes when I look at what I'm doing today, it's kind of easy to think that have I really gone off track architecture? And then many times when I think deeply into it, I realize that not quite. I still do a bit of design, but more with people's dreams and goals right now, because in architecture, what you're doing is getting the brief from the client, and helping them to walk through a design that will be functional and beautiful at the end of the day, and that they will enjoy, but it really meets their brief. And that's really what I would say I do right now, coaching and shaping perception. I am married to my best friend. We're 18 years married now. We celebrated our anniversary just this last weekend. And we have 3 adorable kids, totally adorable. Of course, we still have the regular parent kids issues with them now and then, but we always talk about them whenever we are away from them. Yeah, which I think every parent, will be going through when they are days or weeks away from their kids. Yes, we have a daughter, 2 boys. And I would say that when I look at my life, I would definitely say that I have had a blessed life. My marriage, my family, my experiences, my journey, learning and growing and doing the things that I'm doing today. I'm so excited about what the future holds, but I'm really finding a lot of fulfillment today. So if I was going to introduce myself, I would just say I'm one very blessed child of God.
Wow. Thank you so much, Coach FolaFayo. I mean, this has been a journey, really. And we just want to also know, how has it been evolving into what the Polished Lens is offering right now? We know you as a perception shaper, and we know that many years ago, you probably didn't see all of this. So how has the journey been evolving and, unfolding into what you do right now? A personal journey.
Okay. Evolving means that I definitely wasn't close to this at the beginning. I definitely wasn't close to this. Okay, yeah. So evolving for me, I would say I've had quite a lot of changing moments and transition points, crossroads points. I'll put it that way, because I have a background in architecture, and when I was studying architecture, my plan was definitely to be one of the top known female architects in Nigeria. That was my goal, right? Because it's not a place where you find many people. My class in Aki in school, the girls were just about 30% of the whole class, right? We're so few. Yeah, we're about 30% of the whole class. So, I mean, looking at that ratio, my own thinking would have been, when I eventually become an architect, I'll be one of the few, right? But then I broke off that when I joined the bank in 2003 and went through a management training program. And, my mind just started opening up to so much that was possible. But ending up in HR in the bank even made me see so much more again, because I was like, oh my goodness, there's so much, right? Beyond the science and design background I'd had. And because I'm someone who loves to learn and grow, I got into that space every day to work. And I got to a point where I wanted to do more. But I knew that doing more would be a challenge for me, because we were doing split family. My husband was working out of town. He used to come home just the weekends, and I was home with the kids. And so for me to do much more, working in the bank, split family was going to be a lot of sacrifice. And I felt that it wasn't something I could give easily. So the best option for me at that time was to resign. So it was at that point that I started my journey to wanting to do more. But I always tell people that decision, in as much as I look back and I'm really happy that I took it, I don't think I took it with the best of understanding of what was possible for me to look into, because I wasn't really guided. I didn't have any mentor. I didn't really have a coach. I just learned a lot reading books, listening to a lot of all these motivational articles and messages that I felt I could do more, but I didn't have a structure of what I could do. So for a long time, I was dilly-dallying around a lot of stuff. Until I finally got to a point where I identified like 3 core things that I felt I wanted to do much more in: photography, which was basically started from taking pictures with my phone. I wanted to do training and development, and I wanted to do coaching, right? But I didn't have a direction on how to do all of them together. And what I just did at that time was introduce myself as a multi-potentialite. And I used to feel cool saying that, oh, I'm a multi-potentialite, I like to do this. But I thought it was good to do that until I realized that focus was much more important than being a jack of so many trades, right? But the good thing is, one thing that never left me was my desire to always wanting to share things that I learned. So I started blogging way back, I think 2007 or thereabout. I'd been blogging. And then I gradually moved to sharing the things that I used to share on my blog in shorter forms via voice notes and the previous BlackBerry phones and all of that. That's what I used to use. And then it got to a point where, WhatsApp was now the new thing on phones. And I used to share the voice notes with a few people. And one of the friends who listened to me once just sent me a reply and said, do you know you should be podcasting? And I'd actually never thought about podcasting, because I just thought, okay, it's just share what you know. And so I was like, oh my God, podcast. I used to think podcasting was just one big thing. It was, if you needed to have gotten to a place in your life before you can podcast or be popular before you do that. I didn't even know that anyone could just decide to do anything funny or entertaining or educative, or I didn't understand what podcasting was about, but that left a seed. And then I started to look into that. And that's where my journey to podcasting started. And I did a bit of research. I did a free course on, I can't even remember the platform again, but there was a free course I did then just to understand what I needed to do, what to look out for, if I needed gadgets and everything. And then I started. I did have someone who also gave me a tip that, I should have someone help me fine tune my sound when I get it out as well, So those tips and those seeds along the line helped to put me in that place where when I eventually launched in 2019, I was ready. Now, if you had told me then that you would reach 100 episodes, I would have said, I hope so. I hope so. I wasn't sure where I was going. All I know is that I went into podcasting with, I always like to share what I learn. And I feel like there's so much that I'm learning, and I don't want to just keep it with myself. This is an opportunity to leave a legacy. Go for it. And that was how I started that. So that has been my journey, in the podcasting place. And of course, because I started podcasting and then I started seeing that speaking was a thing I didn't mind doing. I mean, if you're a podcaster, you're basically a speaker. And I started looking for how to leverage properly. And then, of course, connect it to the coaching that I'd been considering for a while. That led me into the John Maxwell space. And so today I would say that much of the work that I do is a little bit more in synergy with itself than when I started. Now I know that the messages that I'm sharing on the podcast is to let people see how they can grow. And it's not just I learn and I share. I understand that the things that I'm sharing will do this in someone's life. It's a little bit more targeted. Because I understand that in coaching, you're really helping people to grow into their goals. So that's really what the focus of what the Polished Lens is doing now. Of course, with more of a specialization on the word thrive, which I've been using since 2020, because I believe very much that ultimately we really all just want to thrive. in every space we find ourselves, as individuals, as a spouse, as a parent, as a friend, as a colleague, as a staff of a company, as a partner in a business, as an entrepreneur. We all really just want to do really well. And so for me, I feel like that's really how the journey has been for the Polished Lens so far.
Wow, this is really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing this. A lot of lessons here, how you can approach your storytelling and talking about your journey as legacy. I hope someone has pointed that out and taken that home to encourage him or her to actually share lessons so far, because nothing is a waste. There is something about you that's going to help someone out there. And I hope we've also noticed the approach Coach FolaFayo brought in here and the principles, systems that she also set in place. She didn't have someone to take her through, so she had to do her research. Okay, but now that you are in the 100th episode, what are the systems you have now set in place to help you keep growing and transitioning correctly through the seasons? Because whatever transition you're experiencing now is going to be a story tomorrow. It's going to be a resource tomorrow. So what are the structures you put in place, the resources you actually plugged into, the mentors and thought leaders that helped you through the seasons?
Yeah. Okay, so for me, like I said, starting the Polished Lens, I went first for a free course online to understand what podcasting was going to be about. I didn't think I knew much about it, so that was really where I started. Then what I tried to do, because I knew that what I wanted to be doing was sharing my lessons, mostly things I was learning, and learnings from not just my readings, because I read a lot, right? But also from conversations with people, because sometimes I have conversations with people and I'm like, that's a podcast episode there, because it's like, that's what I'm looking out for. Or sometimes I tell the person, that's a Thriving Thursday session there, because I just get an idea. I'm more intuitive in my situation. So I would say that that's something that I started to do a little bit more intentionally. To say that when I'm reading, when I'm speaking with people, when I'm watching a movie, listening to a music, like one of the favorite music pieces we use on the Polished Lens, I'm listening out for what it is that is being, expressed there, to see how it can be helpful to someone. So I would say that that's something that I started to tune into when I started podcasting. I would say that the other thing that actually also helped me was, so apart from that online course, in building the things that I have today, and there are quite a number of coaches and mentors that I also connected to online. Some of them, of course, like the John Maxwell team, I would say that's one of the places that I got the greatest confidence from. I would say I got the greatest confidence from that, because John Maxwell, being a part of the John Maxwell team, it's like saying that you're giving someone shoulders to stand on. Yeah. So when I joined, we used to be called the John Maxwell team, but today it's Maxwell Leadership. But really, that's like the main offering, or the promise, promise offering of the John Maxwell team and the Maxwell Leadership, that you would feel like you're standing on someone's shoulders. It's like John Maxwell himself giving you his shoulders to stand on. And when you're starting something, there's nothing like knowing that you would not be left alone and that you always have support. So the times when I was stuck, I was able to lean on that. I would say another thing that could have definitely added to me being able to stay on this journey so far is the support I've had and the understanding I've had first from my husband. Because this is someone that knew me when I worked in the bank. He knew me when I first resigned. He knew me all the years when I, was more of an advocate for it's good for someone to still be at home when the kids are at a particular age. And I'm still an advocate for that. But he's seen me change, transition, evolve. And in all those changes, he was quite understanding. I remember the first year, 2020, when I started doing a lot of things back to back. And at the end of the year, when, he was giving his own thoughts about my growth, it was like, you've grown. The things that you've done this year, you've blown my mind. But I don't think those things would have been possible if I didn't have him being understanding and being there. Because there are times when, I'm doing things through the night. I remember some of those podcast series and episodes I had to record and edit when we were on holiday, and I would lock myself up in the closet, I will go into the closet, I will record because I want the sound to be clear, or I'm in the car and the laptop is on my lap and I'm trying to edit because I'm like, this episode must go out. But, he's been quite understanding of those demands on me, as well as my children as well, because they're the ones that will say, oh, the police test is coming out today. The police test is coming out today. Oh, is today Thriving Thursday? So I've had the closest people to me really supportive. And I would say that if you're really going to be doing something that requires consistency for a long time, the closest people to you, the closest, I'm not talking about people you think are close to you, the closest people to you in proximity must at least be understanding. You need to have that. You need to have that. I would say that apart from that, I did have some friends, a few friends, because then you start to realize when you're on a journey like this, that it's not everyone that really understands what you're doing. And so not everybody will be looking out for your growth. That's the thing. It's just a few people that will be asking you, that thing you said you were doing, how far? I had just a few friends who were doing that. So having my husband and the kids, these few friends, which included a particular friend that we went on the journey of growing as coaches together, I would say that was, you're right. I mean, this is something that I would tell anybody any day, you need that. You need that. And from the coaches that I got, connected with online, I can't remember their names off the top of my head because they are not people I'm following as closely as I was at the beginning. But I would never forget people like Paul Martinelli. I mean, this is someone I met as a mentor in the Maxwell leadership space. And this is someone that his teachings, his support through some of the resources he had put out really helped shape my mind on possibilities. Because he's someone that would make you realize that you need to just fly and then let your wings grow as you fly. He doesn't believe in you have to first of all get the wings all together before you fly. So, having people like that who are speaking into the situations when you're on calls with them or when you're listening into calls where they're coaching other people, you're learning so much as well. So I would say those online mentors for sure. So I had someone I was, helped with mindset. I learned something on marketing and visibility from another person as well online. Like I said, the names are not coming to mind quickly for me right now. But I won't say I was on this journey alone. No, I won't say I'm a self-made person. And some people say that. And honestly, kudos to them if you're able to say you've grown in your space without the help of anyone. I'm not in that space. I have grown because I've had people helping me. And I actually do acknowledge their presence and their support, even though many of them don't know me personally. But at least the offerings and the fact that they showed up helped me to be, all that I've come to be today and to grow into all that I am today. And I mean, of course, I won't forget family members like my mom in particular, who every time I do something, she'll be the first to patronize. Like the first journal I did, my first disc assessment, she was the first to buy my, and always putting up my post. And, so when you see people who are that close to you, supporting you, you just have that encouragement that, just keep going. You just never know. And then you're able to stay consistent.
Wow, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We've learned so much already, talking about support, that you can't actually go through this journey alone, because you've had it easier and faster and sweeter because you had people support you, people that had gone ahead, people in the same space with you, people with the same kind of mindset, people who could see what you see and propel you forward. I mean, this is amazing. And how you also talked about family, because I know these are relationship and marriage tips as well that we are getting here. How that you need to communicate what you see to your spouse, to your family members, to your children, so that they can be on the same page with you and not feel that you're leaving something or trading one thing for the other. Thank you for sharing all of this. So now I know that we are eyeing the 200th mark. I know we're going to be eyeing that. Is there something that you want to add to what you have, gathered so far? Is there something you just discovered, or you look forward to being open to add to these things, to these structures and ways that you have come around, these resources you have come around to help you? Is there one more thing you want to add or come across or encounter?
Well, I think that currently going through an executive MBA is obviously shaping my mind on possibilities. I know I'd always wanted to do a master's. I knew without a doubt I was going to do a master's. It was just that I was stalling on time. And then I eventually decided it had to be an MBA, because having a background in HR and realizing that HR is something you can use across industries. I also wanted to do a master's in something that was across industries, and an MBA for me fitted that. So coming into starting that executive MBA a few months back, my understanding of the kind of work that I would be doing as time goes on is already getting modified. I know that being a Maxwell leadership team member already positions me as a coach that can serve to leaders, or that can serve leaders and serve to a leadership team, or provide some support to a leadership team. But right now it's becoming a bit more apparent, because in my cohort right now, the peers I have in school, they're already in leadership roles, right? So I have that network basically widening, and I'm able to see from my relationship the kind of needs they have and how I can support them. And of course, their own network with some of the things that I've gained in the last year. So I know that the work that I will be doing much more now will still stay with transitions, which is something that I focused on in the last 2 years thereabout. But there'll be a lot more work with corporate and business leaders. That's probably what I would say that is going to be the next angle in the work of the Polished Lens. A lot of more work with that. From, like I said, the network that I'm already intentionally building from this program, as well as the things that I'm learning. And because I've had quite a few people in the last 1 year who have been in that space, drawn to my work, and I've supported such people in that capacity. So for me, it was more like, shouldn't I get much more qualified to support such category of people? So now that that qualification is in progress, definitely I'm much more open to that, and partnering with people in that space as well who want to build capacities like that.
Okay, thank you so much. I can hear that, in order to thrive through transitions and seasons, you have to evolve, you have to get better, you have to improve in different areas of your life, so that when you get to that higher stage, you fit in easily. And of course, you attract those kind of opportunities, those kind of people, that kind of class. Right. Thank you so much. Okay, and now we want to know, aside TPL, what else do you do? We want to know, outside this, who is Coach FolaFayo like? Who is she?
Oh, wow. Apart from TPL, that's a tough question, really, because I think much of my life, apart from TPL, is just my family, really. Outside of my work, I would say podcasting is still something I enjoy. I love to just, be in that space of sharing things that I learned. So maybe not podcasting as in you record something and you share, but, sharing stuff is really something I like to do. So my husband and myself, we actually mentor and coach couples about to wed and those already married. We've had our own journey before we got married on how marriages are. We've had our own experience of the bumps that come with marriages, right? And we got to a place from our own learnings when we decided that, we have what it takes now to be able to help other couples, and we have the passion, and we've received enough grace. So why not, right? So currently, my husband and myself, we serve on the platform of Fortify Together, and we do support and resource couples to growth as well. We are SYNBIS facilitators. So we can actually take you through the SYNBIS assessment, which is one wonderful work, that Doctors Les and Leslie, designed some years back, and it's available as well online. But you need a facilitator to take you through to get the best of it. So we are SYNBIS facilitators, and using that resource with couples is really always very fulfilling for us. So anytime my husband and myself serve in that space together, helping couples to, address whatever challenges they might be having, or to stay strong ahead of any challenges that could come their way, it's really fulfilling for us. But like I said, outside of my work, which is also Fortified Together, just FolaFayo will be someone who loves to hang out with family. I started playing tennis earlier on in the year, so I'm still in that space. I know I'm not as good as you are, Toyin, because I know that I know if we still go into the court today, you will still slam me down. I'm not going to even give you that opportunity. Let me go do some more practice, then I will invite you over, then we will do some real.
I shouldn't be saying that about you right now. Because you've been practicing practicing. I mean, you've been practicing. You're more recent than us. You just have to.
I try to practice, but of course, when I have big work to do that requires extended time, I take a break. I just tell my coach, not today, please. Another day, So I love to. I do enjoy tennis, and I like to travel as well. So my family, we do that at least quite a number of times. We do road trips a lot. We've done it in practically every city we've lived in. We've done road trips, and even in Lagos, we did road trip to Ife and Ibadan with the kids. We took them to our university to see the campus. So our kids have had that experience, and so we enjoy road trips and we play family games a lot. I mean, we just spend time together as a family. So I'm more of a family person outside of work. I'm quite a family person. And yes, tennis, a little bit of swimming now and then, which I learned in my 30s. But I love to also have good gist time with my loved one. Whenever I'm on a gist session with a friend, or in fact, my husband is always saying, I don't know how you can spend so long on a phone call. I don't know how you can spend, I don't know what you're talking about on a phone call. I can actually talk a long time. So my friends who know me know. I have a friend whose husband used to tell her that, I know that whenever you're in that call for more than an hour, I know it's FolaFayo you're talking to.
Interesting. I have a friend like that. So I'm glad that I'm not just the only person in that space. I used to think that, okay, when my husband sits with this person, that is she all right? I know if she's listening to this, she'll be like, Toyin. So it's good to know that even you have that kind of friend where you can actually pour your mind out and be free. And I'm sure she's also one of your core support systems that understands what you're saying. They feel what you're saying. They have the empathy, the mindset, that broad-mindedness to actually see, even possibly beyond what you actually see. And that's really encouraging. We must say well done, Coach FolaFayo, because you've been amazing. I don't know if people are actually listening to you right now. I just want them to see how rounded you are. You bring in the corporate experience into the business entrepreneurship, into relationship and marriage, into family. It's just so rounded. So I must say that if you've been missing out on the episode so far, you might just want to engage yourself with the first episode to the 99th episode, because it's been a build-up. It's actually been a build-up, one riding on the other. By the time you get to this, you're connecting the dots. I know Coach FolaFayo has an episode like that in some other platforms. You might want to connect to it. We have the Thriving Thursdays. Ma, would you like to speak about that so that people can connect to you everywhere?
Okay, yeah. So we started the Thriving Thursday. Like I said, this is someone that I learned from one of those online mentors I was following in early 2020. She encourages having a network that you actually, support with maybe articles or your work or coming on live. I learned that from someone. I didn't know that before, and because I was already podcasting, and I'd done a live session where I focus on Thrive at Home. So I was like, okay, why not do something every week and bless people with that? When I started, I wasn't even clear on a lot of that. Just, okay, let's just start this thing. There will always be something. But I would say that when I started, I did have a confirmation, even the podcast. So when I was starting the podcast, I had a confirmation from God that I will be helped. So I knew without a doubt that I would have a word in season. That was one of the promises that I got, that I would have a word in season. And I think that's probably the reason why I've never really gotten to a point where I ran out of what to share. Because even if it is on that day where I'm realizing, oh my God, I'm supposed to have a live session today, or, oh, I'm supposed to release a podcast this, in 2 days time, maybe it's a Monday or Sunday night. I just look into that promise and I say, God, you've assured me that I will have a word in season and that you will help me. So I always look into that. In fact, at some point, because I'm also on this journey of mastering the mind, right? Initially, I used to say things like, when I'm now trying to make a decision of the topic to focus on for the session, I used to say something like, oh, I don't know what to share. But then the Holy Spirit helped me to check that, to say, this is what you should be saying instead. That, oh, out of all the things that I could share, I don't know which one to focus on. Because that way you're coming from a place of abundance when you're trying to select something, as against coming from a place of lack or scarcity. Because when you say, I don't know what to share, it's like you don't have anything there. And you're trying to break through the scarcity. But when you're saying, oh, there's so much I could share, I don't know which one to focus on, then it's more like all the possibilities just come to you and you're not like, let me pick this. No, this one I'll do it next week. So that for me, I would say has been what has helped me in always having a word and a theme to focus on to help people. But I would say for me, when I look at the Thriving Thursday, after having that first live session and then learning this from one of my online mentors, like I said, I wanted to stay consistent with live sessions because I was having the podcast on one side. I wanted to stay consistent with the live sessions. So Thriving Thursday was one that we stayed with. And like I said, because the theme that I had on the first live session was Thrive at Home, I was like, okay, since we have Thrive as the focus, why not just pick a Thursday? And another reason why I picked a Thursday was because most churches in Nigeria where I had friends in, they have their midweek services on Wednesdays. So I was like, okay, I can't pick anything on Wednesday. I cannot do anything on Wednesday. So I better pick a Tuesday or a Thursday. So I was like, okay, let's just do Thriving Thursday. So that's actually where it started from. And of course, with my learning about how this online space works and how important it is for people to also hear from some of the people some people who are probably more experts in some things, then I started incorporating bringing on guests. I have faculty people, members who share also. For now, my husband is the most steady faculty member. We do have one or two other people in the career and the wealth creation space who are faculty volunteers with us, and they also work with us and all of that. But I would say the most steady person that I can drag anytime, say, sweetheart, you have your session today. He's my husband. I'm like, you have your session today. Sometimes I say, you didn't remind me, like, you're supposed to have your session today. So he does come on consistently. And then, of course, my amazing guests over the years who have been so wonderful to just come, a few of them short notice. I just said them 3 days before, I need you to come this week, come share your story. And that has been it. So Thriving Thursdays, we used to have it weekly at the beginning. But because of my changing seasons, we've had to modify and say, look, you know what, we're going to have it twice a month. And what we did in the month of November and December this year was to do, I think October, November, and December was just to do it on the 1st and the 3rd. So I think the first half of next year, we are still going to stick with that. It's still going to be 1st and 3rd Thursdays. And for you to be able to join me live, you could join me on Instagram Live. We have a version always on Instagram, but if you really want the archived ones, and be able to watch them, because some of the ones on Instagram, we get to take them off, you will always find all the ones we've had since inception on the Facebook group Thrive Like Cedar. That's where you have it all. Everything is archived there. But again, like I said, it's twice a month for now. Going forward, it's going to be twice a month, 1st and 3rd Thursdays of the month.
All right, thank you very much, Coach FolaFayo. I mean, this has been an interesting and intriguing session. It's something that people would love to listen to over and over because integrated in everything you said are life lessons, witty wisdoms that people can actually adopt in their lives. Okay, so just to summarize this, say something to someone who is about starting a journey and it could just be a YouTube channel, it could be a podcast as well, it could be an ebook, it could be a course of study, it could be business, someone who is just starting or who has started and is about to give up because his or her expectations are not meeting up to his or her desire. The outcomes are not meeting up to the expectations. Saying that you have gone through that, what can you advise, especially this generation that don't have, that staying power? How can you speak to this people, to this set of people, speaking their language and encouraging them that you can do this, you can stay through, add this, how you want to prepare jollof rice if you're listening from Nigeria. What are the spices you just want to dish out to us, talk to us, man, that we can do this, we should stay.
Yes. So I think for me, there's actually one of the Thriving Thursday sessions we had where we're talking about the 3 points you need to cross to be able to stay on a journey. I think that one I would definitely recommend for anyone to go listen to, because then I talked about the fact that the first point in the journey is before you even start the journey. So that is when you actually tell yourself, do all the work, the mindset work on starting what you need to start. And then, of course, the other part is when you now start the journey and you now take that first step. And then you have another point in the middle of the journey when things are not going the way you want, right? So for me, I would say, in order to actually take the first step in anything you're doing, the things that I feel really help people a lot of time is a strong reason why you're doing that thing. There's a strong reason why you're doing that thing. If the reason why you're starting something is flimsy, you're not likely to even start it, because every reason, every challenge possible will come against you. Because the way the world works, when I mean the world, I don't mean just the people, right? I mean the way the systems of the world, that the way God has set the universe, you will be tested per every decision you make. And so the question is, how bad do you want this thing? So that is the first thing you need to clarify. What exactly is the reason why you're doing this thing? Are you doing it because you want to join the league of people doing it? Because I know for me, blogging, when I started blogging, my husband, a friend of ours, and we're like three couples. Like my husband and three other people were blogging. So we're just two of us that were not blogging. And so every time we meet, they would say, when are you guys going to start blogging? I was like, I would like to start blogging at some point. I would like to start blogging, but I was like, but until I realized that, okay, when I blog, this is what I will share on my blog. These are the things I'm going to be writing. It was until I did that before I started. So you need to hold back from the pressures to do things because everybody's doing it, to find out what is the reason why you're doing that thing. And for me, why I moved into podcasting with ease was because I realized that I express myself verbally. People who know me. Usually when I'm typing, after a while, I say, I'll call you. Because in my mind, I'm like, you're wasting time. This thing that we're trying to articulate in words, can we just talk about it? Let it just be flowing from our brain.
I validate that. Very, 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 very true. Right now.
So for me, I'm like, what is the reason? Does it resonate with your core? And then you also have to ask yourself, does it resonate with who you are? Because if you're someone, so I'm not saying you can't do something that is outside of you and be out and operate outside the box. I'm not saying you can't, but I'm saying that it's simpler to do things that resonate with who you are. It is simpler. So if you're someone who likes to write, it is simpler to start with writing. Start there, because there you will build your confidence. So the first thing is, what is the reason? And then the next thing is, how can you build your confidence in this thing? Because if you get that confidence thing in place, I'm telling you, you are most likely unstoppable. Most likely unstoppable. And for me, one of the things that gave me a lot of confidence is that the Maxwell space was fantastic. Being able to say, I'm a John Maxwell coach, it empowered me. Being able to say, when I eventually got my certification, that I'm a certified coach. I'm not just a person who came online and I'm calling myself a coach. I'm certified. I can help you on this journey. So you need to do whatever it takes to get your confidence, right? Now, I know a lot of people want that confidence thing set in place first, before they now start their job. I'm not saying get confidence first. I'm saying confidence will help you to stay consistent, but don't let it be what is holding you back. Because I'm not as confident, I'm not as qualified. Don't use that to hold you back. I just said, what you need to clarify is, why do I even want to do this thing? When you have a clear idea of what you want, then one thing you shouldn't also forget, I don't want to load you with too many tips, is simplify. Simplify is is one of the biggest miracles God has given to us in this world. Make it simple. Make it simple. The reason why many of us are, struggling with certain things is because the first way we see it is it's complicated. We've made the system. So look at the things you've done in your life. Are the things that are simple to do? I didn't say easy, but simple and direct to do. Because if, for example, a friend, before you call a particular friend, you have to buy a card, log in a number, do one thing before you read that friend. You see that friend, you will hardly be in touch with that friend. But the person that that all you need to do is to go to your balcony and just say, you there, before you know it, you've connected with that person. You will find out that that's the one that comes with it. So you need to look at the things you're doing to say simplify. I know that the person that I work with as my virtual assistant and on the team, I'm always telling you, we need to simplify. You cannot make things, even when you're doing your messaging, it has to be simple. So anything you're approaching in life, where every time you're finding it hard to go through, just ask yourself, how simple is this thing? Because if it is complicated, it's most likely the reason why you're not going ahead into it. But if it is simple and you have a good reason, then you're most likely going to come through. And like I said at the beginning, one of the things that helped me on my journey was actually, I would say, having the right support system. You need to have at least one voice, if it's just one voice that believes in what you're doing, because there'll be moments when you don't believe in yourself. I can assure you, I've been there, where I was saying this thing that I'm even doing, I'm tired, I'm not sure if I can continue. So everybody goes through that, really. It's not everybody goes, even the people that you celebrate as celebrities and role models out there. There are moments when they feel not so, but just having the right person who you would tell, I'm at that point again. I don't know how I'm feeling about this thing. Who will tell you, you've come this far, you can make it through. I know you can continue. You have what it takes. You've blessed me. You've done this. You've encouraged me. You need that. You need that. You need that. And if it is only one person you can find, please just find the person and hold the person and treasure that person and treasure that voice. If you want to note it and put it somewhere, even if it's not someone you know physically and the person dropped a comment on one of your works, note it somewhere and you look at it all the time. Because some people will say, oh, but I don't hear from God. I don't know what God is. Okay, for those that don't, this is one thing you need to know. If it's one person that appreciates what you're doing, you need to have that in your focus, that someone is being blessed. At least till you realize, oh, now you want to change focus or you want to do something a bit more modified. But in the meantime, you need to get the right support.
Wow. This is so insightful. Like, I need to listen to this and take notes. I hear getting clarity. I hear having a good company, having a good companion, having a great inner circle. I also hear convictions, having your mind made up and clear of what you want to embark on, the journey you want to embark on. I also hear, encouragement, encouraging yourself as well. There are times you might have to keep talking to yourself on those convictions that this is what I want to achieve. These are the kind of impacts I want to make. I also hear support, keeping your support group at close proximity, keeping them reachable because of those times where you feel down and you just need to be encouraged. I also hear feedback. So hearing feedback from people that have been impacted from what you do. Wow, this is really inspiring and I'm taking notes already. I hope our listeners are also taking notes because this is deep. I hear clarity, I hear convictions, I hear having a great company, having a good supportive companion, I hear having an inner circle that actually see what you see and possibly beyond what you see as well, that can support you in supposedly downtimes, right? When you don't feel like you're actually impacting life. I also hear feedback from people that have been impacted because their testimonies are the things that would encourage you to keep going, to keep running on this track. And this is so much. I'm sure we want to listen to this over and over again because if you're starting something or if you're feeling down on a particular thing you're doing, you feel like, am I really blessing lives? You want to listen to this podcast over and over again because it's definitely going to bring smiles to your faces wherever you are. So thank you, Coach FolaFayo, for taking our time to have this session with us. I'm sure this is a transgenerational wisdom that people will use to thrive through transitions, through seasons, through times, through generations, wherever, irrespective of location, race, color, anything, right? Even age. So thank you so much, Coach FolaFayo, for having us. We look forward to your 200th episode, right? We also look forward to how you're going to, impact lives in the corporate space, wherever space they find themselves in relationship, marriage. Feel free to plug to Coach FolaFayo in the platforms she has mentioned. All right, so see you next time. Listen to you, hear us next time. You see us next time, wherever you're watching this or hearing this from. Have a lovely time wherever you are, and Merry Christmas. Coach FolaFayo would like to say Merry Christmas to us.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Enjoy the holidays and a happy, wonderful 2023 in advance.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.